So in the last episode, we saw Emma accept who she really is, an orphan. How is that going to affect her going forward in Neverland?
I think that it's not so that much that it drastically affects the way in which they continue going after Henry to try to save him. I think it just impacts the dynamic between the whole group, because Emma has now realized something about herself that she didn't know before. And it's now been revealed to everyone around her, which will impact the way they all relate to each other and impact the way they continue working together or fighting with each other as we continue through the jungle trying to get to Henry. So I think it has more emotional repercussions than physical repercussions.
Is Emma ever going to be able to forgive her parents?
I think Emma does forgive her parents. I don't think that it's not that she doesn't forgive them. I think that it just doesn't change that it happened. There's a big difference between unforgiveness and experience. And I think she understands logically why they did it, and I think she probably could put herself in their shoes and imagine herself making the same decision. But that doesn't change that she spent 28 years without family and without loved ones and having to survive on her own in some way. And finding them doesn't eliminate everything that she's gone through up until that point. And so I think it's not so much that she doesn't forgive them as much as they just need time. They need time with each other in order to create a true bond and a true relationship. You can't just meet someone. It would be like going like, hey, you're my mom. Let's be super close. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's literally what happens. You can't just be super close because you're told to be. You have to have a history. You have to have time. You have to build a relationship with someone. So I think they're just in the process of that time spent in order to build a relationship. But it doesn't. Her hurt feelings and her emotions don't mean that she doesn't forgive them. It just means that they have a lot of work to do.
Pan did threaten that she'll end up an orphan. So is there...
keep watching.
How far in advance do you know? I mean, how much of the story do you know?
We just are halfway through 9, and we haven't even gotten the script for 10 yet. So, yeah.
How is it? How do you see Emma's journey? Has it been since the beginning to now? I mean, how do you feel as an actress she's gone, and how much of that did you play a part in?
Well, I mean, those guys ran it. I don't, if I have any impact on it, it's totally indirect. It's just based on conversations that we have about me wanting to do the best job I can to bring her to life. But she's had an incredible journey. She went from having nothing to having parents and a child and a community and enemies and, all sorts of things overnight. And it's been a huge adjustment for her and a totally different way of living life to have people that participate in your daily decisions and experiences. So I think, the time that has passed since Henry showed up at her door is less than a year. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's less than a year. So a lot has happened in a fairly short period of time. And she oftentimes is in situations where she deals with one crisis and there's the next crisis on her doorstep before she's barely even processed the previous one. So there's not been a lot of time to have self-reflection of where am I right now and how have I grown as a person. I don't think she's really had time to think about that. But I do feel like she has grown past a lot of her exterior barriers that she initially had. She certainly has grown past her fear of being a bad mother. She definitely wants to be Henry's mother and be present in his life and to figure out how to be the best mom she can possibly be. And she definitely wants to participate in her parents' lives. She just hasn't figured out how yet, at least not in a functional way on a daily basis. So I think that her journey is very subtle and emotional, I guess.
So what about the whole... You have a connection between Hook and Emma, but then Neil is still out there.
Yeah.
So what can you tease about what we'll see?
Well, I mean, Emma still doesn't know that Neil is alive at this point. So at the point that we're seeing the show right now. So nothing really changes until she knows that he's alive. She will find out at some point that he's not dead. But until that happens... she's really just staying focused on trying to save Henry, and everything else just feels sort of, of course it's flattering that someone is interested in whatever, but it's not even registering with her because she's concerned about saving her child. And it just, I guess, it just heightens all of the dynamic of everything going on, that Hook is the one that's helping her right now, and Hook is the one that's present, and he's the one who's sort of surprising her by following through with what he promises to do, and seems to be doing this very selflessly instead of selfishly. And so she's definitely taken aback by how different he is than what she expected. And definitely still thinks that Neil's dead, but in her mind, all of it's irrelevant. She's just trying to get to Henry.
Will we see any growth with Emma and Regina's relationship this season?
Yeah, Emma and Regina's relationship this season is interesting because they have to sweep so much under the rug in order to save Henry. Emma's going to always make educated decisions about how much she trusts Regina based on her past and things that she's done to people. And, she's tried to kill my family and me and all sorts of other people, and has killed other people. So she's not forgetting that is a part of who this woman is. But she definitely identifies with the part of Regina that loves Henry and wants the best for him, and she's looking to connect with that part of her. And, there's even a moment where Emma realizes that Regina's anger is coming from this desperation that Henry is all that she has. And I do have a lot of other great things in my life. I also hold her responsible for causing the situation, which is that Henry is all that she has. Like, she did do things to cause that situation. But she's still human, and Emma can still see that human side of her. So I think Emma's really searching to see the human side of Regina this season in order to be able to be her partner in getting Henry back.
You folks definitely treat it as a drama, which is great, which I think adds such a weight to the whole program. But of course, it's a fantasy as well.
Of course.
In terms of dealing with the fantasy elements, especially special effects and so on, as an actress, obviously you have a great imagination, as you're a performer, but how's it been coping with all that?
I've been lucky. I don't have a tremendous amount of that stuff to have to worry about with Emma. We certainly all have scenes on the green screen, and you kind of get used to it. There's certain things that will always be a little bit confusing, and like, oh wait, this thing is here and that thing is there, and you want to make sure that you're relating to everything. It just takes a little bit of extra homework, honestly. You just have to be able to think ahead about how you're going to relate to the space that you're in because you can't see it. So instead of walking into a room and being like, I would pick this up, you have to think about, is there something there to pick up? Is there a wall there? Is there, would I be noticing this giant structure? But they also help us tremendously with that because they have incredible drawings that they bring in and show us, and then they overlay temporary special effects when we work on the green screen, so we can go and watch a playback of the scene where it's very rough, but you can go, I just walked through a pillar, So technology and its advancements are also helping us. But yeah, you just kind of get used to it. There's certain things that maybe they would be different if we were really there, but we'll never know. We just do the best we can based on the circumstances.
We've seen these conversations between Emma and Peter Pan. Will we see more of those moving forward?
Yes. Yeah, we definitely have more interactions. I'm just trying to think. It's all blending together now. But yes, we talk more.
How is her experience in Neverland going to affect Emma, after?
I have no idea. That's a question for those guys. I really don't know. Obviously, that's going to rest on whether or not we save Henry and what the end result of if we save Henry, what that end result looks like.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.